Very exciting intro. Very
How you
exciting
like
indeed.
that, bro?
That was
Well,
good.
that's
That
like
was good.
that's like professional and stuff,
Man,
bro.
well, that was my favorite singer-songwriter that actually recorded that little piece of music.
Man, who might that
Uh,
be?
might be me.
You're a humble man, yeah.
And we're working on an official Rockin' the Grill theme song, which I just sent the first mix over today, and it got the Cajuns' approval.
I'm
So
telling you, dude, bro. The family, everybody loved it, man. It was awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait for y'all to hear that.
I know it's going to be. I'm going to get it a little better in the mix. I haven't fired up my home studio since I recorded my last album, which was, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. I had to remember how to use everything. It was not intuitive. Technology.
Well, you passed it off like an expert, bro. Let me tell you, I was impressed. My wife was real impressed, bro.
If I can't get it any better, we'll roll with it. Anyway, that's another song for another show.
Yeah, so let's just kind of tell. I mean, this is our first episode that we're going to be officially launching, and we want to tell people what it's all about. I mean, hey, we're going to be. It's called Rockin' the Grills. It's just what the title says. We're going to be talking about rock and roll, 80s music, maybe before that 70s rock, and how it influenced Jim's life and my life and our in our youth. And we're also going to be talking about recipes and grilling and stuff like that. So I let Jim, because he's the master. The master musician. I let him pick the first rock group that we're going to talk about, and it's on the screen, and the recipe. So why don't you lead us into that, and then we'll mix it in with a little bit of food talk.
Well, that's all good. That's good with me. So we're going to go back to the 70s, even though, I grew up in the 80s. LA Sunset Strip was a big influence on my whole being. But we're talking hands down favorite rock bands. 1970s Cheap Trick. They had actually technically their only number one hit was actually in 1988. So they are more of The Flame.
The Flame. That was their hit.
Yeah, that was their number one hit. That was a bigger hit than Surrender or I Want You to Want Me.
You got to be kidding me. I would have lost that trivia question. I guarantee you that, bro.
But most people remember them from the 70s, and they're still out there rocking. Anyway, hands down favorite band. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of blew up when they went to Japan, right? I mean,
that was it.
They're from Illinois, little town in Illinois.
They're from Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford, Illinois, and they just kind of muddled around as rock groups do, trying to make their name, trying to make a label for themselves, a name for themselves, and then they go to Japan and they become an overnight sensation.
Yes,
and then come back to the United States, and everybody wants to hear Cheap Trick.
They went from clubs and occasionally opening act to all of a sudden live at Budokan, made them a household name in America.
They're big shots now, bro. But before we get into a little bit more, I'm gonna duck over my head over here, because when you told me Cheap Trick, this from my youth, I was a freshman in high school when this movie came out, and this reminded me, so I had to play it. I'm gonna duck out of the screen. So here we go.
Can you honestly tell me that you forgot? Forgot the magnetism of Robin Zander or the charisma of Rick Nielsen?
Tell him, Damone.
Kid stuff. How about the tunes? I want you to want me. The Dream Police. Your mama's alright. Your dad is alright. But just seem a little bit weird.
Can I talk to you for a sec?
And there's the intro.
Dude, is that crazy? I mean, Damone is the kind of friend that everybody loved to hate, bro.
Yeah,
we all had a friend like Damone, bro.
We all knew that guy.
Oh yeah, cool, suave, but just a prick.
Yeah.
And he was okay with that.
Yep. But he had to hook up for something. Whenever you needed something, he was the guy.
Yeah, tickets,
Much as you hated to ask for it, but
he had that advice for his partner about, hey man, if all at last resort, when you're in the car with your girl, put on Led Zeppelin.
Yep,
I love it. So tell me more about, because dude, I've been knowing you for what, about 4.5 years now?
About a little over 4 years now.
Yeah, and I know, out of all the hard rock bands you've seen live, there's none you've seen more than Cheap Trick. It's staggering.
Well, I think I'm on the last show I saw was, I think, number 31. But
Or-
it's a close running with them, the Tubes, and George Thorogood. They're all kind of around that 30 number. So I don't know. I may have seen the other guys more. I don't know.
That's crazy, bro. Absolutely insane. So tell me your favorite Cheap Trick story, I guess. How did they influence you as a musician?
Man, I guess it was, I had to have been, I don't know. When did MTV come out? 1980,
Well, that would have been 82,
81, 82.
82, somewhere in there, yeah.
So I was nine.
Again, I was a freshman. I was a freshman in high school, so it was 82.
I was 9 or 10. And,
Well, I feel old now.
I think, I think my first like moment of wow, who are these guys? Was a video from Live at Budokan. It was "I Want You to Want Me," and Robin Zander in the white suit,
That zoot suit with that big hat.
And I've seen, quite a few times. I've seen him recently, and he's wearing the white suit. There's nothing more golden god than Robin Zander in the white suit.
And he wears that big, like, wide brim hat. I mean,
yeah,
classy dresser, bro.
Yeah. So and it was like that, the voice, and then you had the Rick Nielsen on guitar, who's like a human cartoon character, and so you had the ultra cool guy, and then you had the very goofy guy, and I figured I would fit somewhere in between.
Well, Rick Nielsen, I mean, I did some research. He's the one that actually founded the group.
Yes,
he's the one that started Cheap Trick, and then he got the singer and the bass player and the drummer came later.
Yeah, he's the main songwriter. I just finished reading a book on how they all started. Very detailed. It's called "This Band Has No Past," and it's very detailed, small print, very few pictures.
He may not have a past, but Jim, I've seen him live one time, and that dude got a lot of guitars. I think every song he changes guitars.
Yes, that's his whole shtick.
Oh my gosh. He must have millions of dollars just in the guitars.
He's got to, and he's always selling them and buying new ones and swapping out, But they were an early influence, definitely early on, and I have had the pleasure of meeting them several times. When I was living in LA, I was doing some work at one point for a guy named Julian Raymond, who produces a lot of their albums. If you look up Julian Raymond's credits, it's just endless. He's worked with everybody.
You know what? I'd have a question for him if I met him in person. You know what I'd ask him?
What was that?
How do you smoke your baby back ribs, dude?
Right.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about. Okay, so I gave you the preference. Smoke. You picked the menu item, and you came back with. I mean, who doesn't love a great smoked baby back rib? So.
Yeah,
I've known people to say that they like to cook theirs on a gas grill, and I'm not saying that that's impossible, but it's just not as good as you cooking over a real live fire, like wood fire. So what's your preference as far as equipment to use when you're smoking your ribs?
My go-to for any smoke is a charcoal Kamado style grill.
Gotcha.
I'm actually sitting right next to mine right here.
Oh, that thing looks like a silver bullet, bro. That thing looks bad to the bone.
And so on my YouTube channel, I do my whole thing is simple grill recipes. And one of them is the 3-2-1 smoked rib method. And I always say on all my smoke videos, I go, I'm using charcoal, but these recipes will apply to, whatever you got.
Well, I didn't know what 3-2-1 was when you sent that before I put it on the little tag at the bottom, but I figured it might have been the area code or something like that.
That just basically refers to the time, each phase of the smoke. First phase is 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour.
Oh, there you go. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and if you go online and you look that up, there's 100 different variations of it, but mine's pretty simple, and that's my whole deal. Simple recipes.
So the 3 stands for what again?
That's the first phase of the smoke. It's 3 hours.
3 hours. Then okay. So after the first phase, what's the second phase?
Second phase. Well, let's start with the first phase. So first you got your preferably we like to use baby back ribs. So you get your rack of ribs.
You can do pork spares, St. Louis cut, beef ribs are popular now. You could use all these techniques, guys, on any kind of ribs you like. But okay,
it applies to anything. That's all good. So the first phase, you basically want to pat dry your rack of ribs. There's going to be a lot of cases, a thin membrane on the bone side, the underneath side.
Mm-hmm.
You want to peel that off and give it a crisscross score. And then with a dry rub of your choice, you want to do with the first phase. Now, let me ask you a question. Extra Cajun would be a very good choice. Let me ask you a question, and I don't want to get off topic too much, but when we're talking binders, whether it's pork or chicken or beef,
good question.
Do you use a binder, or do you just put rub right on that meat?
Okay, well, I learned this. I can't lay claim that I invented this. There's two people who are in the competition world that are highly regarded as experts, and I've learned from them in a lot of different cooking techniques on the grill. One was Bad Barn's butt rub, Byron Chisholm. He is an incredible guy who's just he offers anything that he knows to anybody who asks. And him and Chris Marks with Three Little Pigs barbecue rubs. He came into our store several times and did classes with barbecue competition techniques and stuff like that. And both of them use mustard. Plain old, not Dijon, not may I borrow some Grey Poupon? No, not Grey Poupon. Yeah. Just regular, and French's is high class. I mean, you can use the no-name brand, but regular yellow mustard coated very, very generously on both sides. And your meat has no taste of the mustard when it's done. But there's something about the alkalinity in the vinegar and the mustard that just really enhances the flavor profile. But it also acts as what you were referring to, an excellent binder. So you coat it real good, and then you dust the crap out of it with whatever seasoning you like.
And what about if you're doing like a steak? Would you do mustard on a steak?
Okay, okay. Now you're getting into a very personal and almost like I get very defensive because I'm not a marinade when it comes to steaks. I'm not a marinade kind of guy. I'm not a sauce. Don't put sauce on my steak. When I'm at a restaurant, I have to be deliberate and say, look, I want a steak. I don't want onions on my steak. I don't want cheese on my steak. I don't want sauce on my steak. I want the steak. Okay. And you just bring it to me. Don't season it. I'll put my own salt and black pepper because I want to see, because a good steak, whether it's a ribeye, a tri-tip, a New York strip, T-bone, filet, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's a good, you want to taste that buttery flavor of a steak. Now, I know we just did a little cookout and I put a reduction butter cream sauce with some lump crab meat. Okay, that might be an exception, but normally if I'm grilling, I don't pre-season my steak. I just grill it to the right perfect doneness, and then I take it off, let it rest. I put kosher salt or some sea salt and fresh cracked black pepper.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to use olive oil on everything, and I was recently told, like, don't ever do that. So I go back and forth, sometimes avocado oil, olive oil. But interesting with the steaks, but I don't want to get too off topic, so let's get back to the ribs.
Yeah, because that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
That might be my show next year.
That might maybe. So with this phase one of these 3-2-1 ribs, whatever binder you got, I used to use olive oil all the time, and then a rub of your choice. I've used Extra Cajun plenty of times. And then set that on your smoker. You want to dial your smoker in at about 230, 240, somewhere in between there. Set it on there bone side down and let it roll for 3 hours. After the first 3 hours, pull that rack of ribs off, put it on foil. And now we hit it with some brown sugar, pads of butter, and honey is what I think I did on the last one. I did. It worked pretty well. And now wrap it in foil, completely wrap it, put it back on the smoker for 2 hours. And then after that, take it out of the foil and then just baste with barbecue sauce take it out of the foil, bone side down again for the last hour.
Yeah.
At that point, that's a 6 hours of smoking time. They should be falling off that bone and absolutely amazing.
Now, so you got the 3-2-1 technique, which is fantastic. I love the brown sugar. there's a small amount of light brown sugar, dehydrated light brown sugar in the extra Cajun. So it works really good as a barbecue rub, by the way.
Yeah.
So, but we talked about the technique. So what temperature range are you targeting? Or is it all the same through all the 3, 2, 1?
Through the
Or
whole
are
thing,
you
yeah.
starting hot, finishing low? Yeah.
With the ribs, I'm at the same temp. If I can keep it at about 230, 235 the whole time. I've tried
Yeah.
it at a little bit higher temps, and it just cooks up a little bit fast. So you really want to have that nice low smoke.
Okay.
for
Well,
the whole
that
time.
so so at 230, you're talking about a good smoking temperature, because
Yeah.
as I understand it, 225 to 275 is technically just under 300 is smoking temperature, and then baking, like in your oven, is anywhere from 300 to 375, and then grilling is like from 375 to ay.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't keep your hand over the fire,
Right.
So you're smoking those ribs, and so when you're doing that, again, these two guys that I referred to earlier, I don't know if you know this, but I sure as hell didn't know this, but when you're smoking meat, that ring that they talk about in a brisket, it even happens on a rib. If you do it slow and slow enough, you can see a little pink ring
Yeah.
in the meat after you cut through it. The meat, once the internal temperature of your meat, whether it's a brisket, Boston butt, ribs, anything, hits 160, it will not absorb any more smoke. So that is why you want to smoke your meat, because you want to bring up that temperature real slow. If you want a lot of that smoke flavor infused into your protein,
Yeah.
you want to bring it up real slow. I know a lot of competition guys, they leave their meat, the ribs or the brisket or whatever, on ice, because again, you're starting at a much lower temperature. So it takes that much longer to get up to that 160, which means you're going to have that much more smoke coming in, and a more beautiful smoke ring and penetrating smoke ring. It's not just getting into the meat, it's penetrating down into the meat. And I know competition, they're looking for like a quarter to a half inch of smoke ring on that brisket. So
Interesting.
yeah, it is. This is a science. I'm still learning. I've been cooking for a long time, but I ask more questions than I'm asked questions.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I'm still learning.
I got you. Well, that's my technique, and always let the meat rest. Always let it rest. 10, 15 minutes.
So you said an hour about when you start putting the barbecue sauce. And I like to call it when you tap your finger on the ribs, and that sauce actually sticks to your finger, and it has like it's like springy. It sticks. You can stretch it out just like whatever. But that's what you want. You want that tacky. You want that tacky sauce. You don't want it runny where it's dripping all over the plate. You want it tacky where it's stuck to the meat.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So that's awesome, dude. So I'm the same way. I mean, I love cooking over lump charcoal. I like using different accent woods depending on the protein. Like when it I don't know if you've ever experimented with this. I mean, because when you use good lump charcoal, normally it's a blend of like oak as a base, and then you have a little hickory, maybe a little bit pecan. Some of them even put maple. So that's the whole I mean, barbecuing is just like science. I mean, you got different kind of fuels. You got different kind of accent woods. Like I like apple and peach and fig and different fruit bearing trees that you can put chunks on there to give it a whole different flavor profile. And then you got all the sauces and all the rubs, I mean, and different temperature. I mean, so when people say, what's the best way to, man, just start experimenting.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
The more you practice it, the more you love it. I mean, the better you get at it, and ultimately, who's the biggest judge of whether or not your food is good?
As you're probably yourself.
Well, I'd say your wife.
Yeah, well,
because if you have a happy wife, you got a happy life.
That's true. That's true.
We both got Jennifers, so we got to keep them Jennifers happy, bro.
That's true. And I tend to be my own worst critic. Like if my ribs don't come out, if those bones don't pull right out, I'm like,
I missed
a whole day.
I missed it. And then everybody's trying to be nice to you. Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
They turn around, roll their eyes, Get out of here, man. You're not invited next time. Get out of here.
Yeah. And I didn't even, I mean, because that recipe will apply to any smoker. I didn't even get into the whole thing about lump coal and wood chunks. Again, that could be a whole nother episode.
It will be. I mean, there's so much to talk about. This podcast, we hope, is entertaining, number one, but we want it to be extremely informative. We hope you learn, some new tips and techniques and tricks that you can try in your backyard to hone your personal, because everybody's got different taste buds. Everybody's got a different flavor profile that, feels good in their mouth. Like I give you another one. Chris Marks, and he had a worker that worked with him. Great guy. For the life of me, his name slips me. Forgive me. He passed away. It'll come to me. But he used to do what he called Kansas City sticky ribs. You want me to tell you how he did that?
Yeah.
Because I did this for a guy. He was on our show, and he freaked out. He said, I've eaten ribs my whole life. And this was an older guy. So he ate a lot of ribs in his life. He said, these are the best ribs I've ever had. So basically, just like your 3-2, okay? But the one, you don't put sauce on it. So you cook it till it's tender, all right? So it could take 3 hours. It could take 5 hours. You want that meat to pull away. I can't see the camera. You want the meat to pull away from the bone about a half an inch.
Yeah.
And just kind of the meat between the bones, just push on it. You know when it's tender. So once it hits that money spot, you're there. You had the right tenderness. You pull them off. You let them relax a little bit, and then you get 2 paper plates, and you put a big squirt of honey, like you just said, and a big squirt of your favorite barbecue sauce. Now down here in Southern Louisiana, a lot of people like Jack Miller's Pig Stands. It's got fresh onions cut up in it, and it's like a mustard based type sauce. I love it on certain things like pork chops and chicken and stuff, but on my ribs, I like a good bite, like a red sauce, like a Kansas City type sauce. So you put whatever you like. You put that on another paper plate, and after you cut them up individually, they've relaxed a little bit. And that's the thing about ribs: you don't want to cut them when they're piping hot, because if they're tender, they'll fall apart. Yeah. I mean, you won't be able to. It won't. When you pick up a rib, it's gonna have pieces all missing and stuff. So let it set, not to room temperature, but let it set to cool off. And what happens is that meat firms up, and then when you come back with a good sharp cutting knife, it'll cut right through that meat and it won't fall apart. But after you cut them, you roll that rib. You grab it by the bone and you roll it in that honey, and then you roll it in that sauce, and then you put that in your mouth.
All right.
And let me tell you, I'm not a huge honey fan. I just don't like the taste of honey straight out the bottle to a spoon to my mouth. I just don't like it. But when the heat hits that, it changes the whole flavor profile of honey. And dude, there's something magical about Kansas City sticky ribs. Man, you need to try that one time next time you cook.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm long overdue for some smoked ribs. It's been a while.
Yeah. But that me too, bro. Might do that this weekend because it's supposed to rain all weekend. So there's nothing better than barbecuing when it's raining.
Oh, I know it.
So let's see. So we covered 3, 2, 1. We covered the fuel a little bit. We covered the temperature a little bit, and your weapon of choice, so to speak. And I got my own. I got my personal favorites, the Cajun Grill and family product. I just love it. And so you're cooking over direct fire because you're in a Kamado. Do you use like a diversion plate or an indirect plate?
I use a heat deflector.
A heat deflector.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then you wrap them, take them out, put the barbecue sauce. Well, dude, I'm ready to go. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
I'm still eating the leftovers that you made from yesterday.
Well, that was a lot of fun. So let's recap and then we're gonna have to end this because we're getting about to the 20-minute mark. So Cheap Trick, where they playing next? Where we gonna see them, bro?
They've been they're on and off of a big tour right now with Def Leppard and Journey. They're doing sporadic dates. They were on tour with Heart for a while, and then that got canceled. There was some medical issues with one of the Heart sisters.
We didn't talk about Heart, bro.
No. And they're always playing. I see them on average about once a year. They're always somewhere.
Right.
They don't remember me anymore, like back in the LA days.
Well, I said I saw them one time live.
Yeah.
I saw them. The Raging Cajuns played in I think it was their very first Sun Belt Championship game or bowl game that I can remember, and it was in New Orleans, and I forgot what bowl it was, but anyway, it's irrelevant. But the night before, because we went the night before, and we it was a big party, bro. All the Cajuns, we travel well to New Orleans, bro. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And they always have like a featured band for entertainment, and they brought in Cheap Trick, bro. And we were right in the front row. We went early, and we were right there. And I love their music. I've listened to it my whole life, my whole adult life. Love their music. Never seen them live, and they did not disappoint, man. They still got it. That's what's his name, the singer?
Robin Zander.
Robin Zander, man, he can still belt it, bro. And that guitar player, my God,
he still hits the notes, and they're just consistent. They still sound great. You know, when I saw him a few years back, remember the infamous Saints-Rams playoff game with the infamous no call?
Oh yeah, I'm still pissed about that.
I haven't watched an NFL game since then. I was there.
Where's the yellow flag, bro?
I was there that day. Cheap Trick played the pregame party out in Champion Square. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. It was an unusually cold morning for New Orleans.
Wow.
And there we were. Cheap Trick, Rams, Saints. What could be better? Except the end of the game was horrible.
All right.
There you go.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I'm still pissed off about that. You're a big New Orleans Saints fan, and so am I.
Yeah. It's just so disappointing.
Hey, Jim, this year we're going to the Super Bowl, baby, and it's in New Orleans.
I'll tune in if they make it.
Oh no, you got to root for the Saints. But defensively, they say defense wins Super Bowl champions, bro. We got a good defense. Offensive line, we need some work, bro. We got some holes up there.
Oh, always.
I hope we have a good scrambling quarterback. He's gonna look like Fran Tarkington in his rookie season. They're gonna be running around like for their lives.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, let's wrap it up. But before we go, why don't you give your people, our viewers, not your website, or anything you want to give them, but give them your email or how to contact you, so that if they have a suggestion that they want to see on a future show, and then I'll give mine. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I've got my email is Haas. It's my last name, HAAS, 2 A's. Haas Rocks @gmail.com.
Gotcha.
And you can get me on social media, Facebook or Instagram at Grilling with Jimbeaux. And Jimbeaux is actually spelled like, the boring old Jimbo.
Yeah, you changed it, bruh.
Well, just, the rest of the world doesn't know this whole
EAUX.
Yeah, they don't know it. So, and I've been going by this spelling since long before I lived out here. I was still in California, and they were very confused. But anyway, Grilling with Jimbeaux, Jimbo, Facebook and Instagram. Soon to be on TikTok and YouTube. I've got a ton of videos out there, and that's, again, the last name, Haas, HAAS, Rocks, number one. Number one. Bro. You'll find that on YouTube. There you go.
Well, I'm on Facebook. Just look for Extra Cajun. Do a search, and you'll find us. And if it gets to Extra Cajun, it'll get to me. And also, you can visit our website and send me a personal email at Extra Cajun. That's no E, XTRA Cajun, CAJUN.com. And you can reach out to us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the show, good and bad. I mean, hey, we're prideful men, but we can take a criticism. But hey, if you love the show, we like that too. So give us some shout outs, man.
And we got a lot of ideas, but eventually we're going to need some more. So what do you got? Man. What do you got?
Oh yeah. And if you want something featured, just reach out to us and we'll talk about it also. So Jimbeaux, I enjoyed this segment, dude. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait to do the next one.
I can't wait.
We're going to air this like once a week, and it'll be on our YouTube channels. He has his, I got mine. Hopefully, if we have enough subscribers, we might get it up to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So share it. Y'all share it with all y'all friends, man. We need to get up there. I don't know how many we got to get, but I think it's more than 2. So,
Got to start somewhere.
We got to start somewhere, bro. And we're humble men. But hey, I think we got a good thing going. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and throw our little exit thing out. And Jim, until we see you again, bro, y'all be cool.